Let's talk about 3 ways to use music when you're doing a Zoom seminary class. The first way is very simple. It's just to use it as prelude music. When your students are getting on and it's early in the morning, it's kind of nice to have something upbeat playing, or it's nice to set the tone for the classroom with the prelude music. So let's go ahead. We're already in a Zoom class right now. So let's go ahead and share the screen. We'll go to the page where we can get some music going. And make sure that we share the computer sound. If you notice down here, share computer sound. So we're going to come over here to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints homepage. Go down to the music library. I like to use the music for youth. If you have the music turned all the way down so that you can just barely hear it, your students will still be able to hear it, and they'll be able to hear your voice over the top of the music when you want to start class. So I recommend sharing the music and turning it almost all the way down so they can hear you. And then when just a minute before you start, just go ahead and turn the music off. Okay, so that's the first way, is sharing it through prelude music. Another great way to use music when you are doing a Zoom seminary class is to use some of the church music lyrics. So let me give you an example. Let's go back and share that same screen that we were on, but this time I'm going to have us go to a different tab. And I've already pulled up the lyrics to a primary song. And I will typically ask my students to read through the lyrics quietly to themselves and choose statements that they agree with, or statements of truth or statements of doctrine that put their testimony in words. So they might look through this one, and when I ask them, okay, where are some statements of faith that you can find? They might say, oh, I like this one. I know when I'm baptized, my wrongs are washed away. I really believe that. They might look through and say, I know I can live with God again. So sometimes when we're asking youth to share testimony, they have a really difficult time finding their own words, but they can find the words in the lyrics of songs, and they can say, yes, that's something that I believe. The final way is to use music as a background to block off a certain amount of time for a certain activity. So it can feel a little bit awkward to have them working quietly on their own for a few minutes when you are virtual. So this way, you're still staying connected even when you want them to do some individual work. Let me explain that a little bit. So let's say, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. Let's say we're studying Matthew chapter 5, verses 3 through 12, and we're studying the Sermon on the Mount. And I want them to examine it a little bit more closely. I could share this document with them that gives them 3 different ways of studying the scriptures and analyzing that scripture block. And they could take a look at these different ways, and I could tell them, I'm going to give you X number of minutes to use one of these strategies to find something new in that scripture block. So then as they're looking at this, you can start some music. So we would go over here to the music for the youth, and we could turn on the music. And then you jump back over to this tab where they can see those scripture strategies. And now you can tell them, okay, when the song's over, that's when we're going to share what additional things we've learned by using one of these strategies. So the music helps to just provide a little bit of connection, even though you're all in your own homes and working individually. It also just invites the Spirit. Just my recommendation is don't play music that's too upbeat, or you might even want to just find some instrumental music that you play so that they're not sitting thinking about the words to the music instead of thinking about the scriptures. So these are 3 ways that you can use music in your virtual seminary class.